Hello and welcome to Advertisers Watching Ads. My name is Tom Ollerton. I'm the founder of Automated Creative, and this is a weekly show where brands watch other brands' ads and discuss what's good and bad about them. We are brought to you as ever by Contagious, who've helped choose the ad today. So thanks, guys, for sending us an unending stream of weird and wonderful ads from around the world. So please go and check those guys out after the show. But before we get to this week's ad, let's meet this week's guests.
Hi, everyone. I'm Tom. I'm one of the co-founders and CEO of BDB UK. So it's Billion Dollar Boy UK.
Hi, I'm Mel. I'm a co-founder of Strat House.
And I'm Jerry. I lead media across Europe, Middle East and Africa for GSK Consumer Healthcare.
Fantastic. Right, let's see this week's ad. Right, Jerry, what did you first think when you saw that campaign?
It's sort of a nice idea. It feels a made for advertising idea. Like all the coverage I could find of it was kind of in advertising, press, etc. It didn't seem to have sparked a lot of kind of actual local consumer interest. But it's quite a fun idea. I guess if you work in a sort of healthcare category and one where your topic's a little bit risque and it's kind of hard to have, perhaps the wrong choice of words there, but tricky to have a public conversation about it. It's obviously trying to make your brand relevant to a moment, getting behind the vaccine cause. It's definitely sort of a true insight, I guess. People have been stuck at homes, hopefully seeing fewer people and having less sex. So there is some relevance for the brand, but it felt a bit sort of small and gimmicky, and like not many people probably actually saw it or even perhaps understood it if they saw it driving past. But a bit of fun, I guess.
Yeah, I agree with Jerry that I think it was fine, and you could see precisely where it had come from, so you can see the interesting bits are the global to local activation, so start trying it in the UK and then doing it in Australia as well. There are bits of goodness throughout it, aren't they? The sort of data capture, albeit that it's not the most user-friendly data capture form anyone's ever seen, but it's they're trying to integrate that.
I thought it was quite nice fun. Like, I get why they did it. Condom sales, specifically Durex sales, I saw kind of skyrocketed in China and the UK in particular after lockdowns were lifted in those regions. Sydney in particular has been in some quite intense lockdown for a long period of time, and bringing a bit of humor I thought was nice. But I think as soon as you kind of scratch the surface with it, it falls flat, unfortunately. One thing that I thought was interesting is they have all been in lockdowns. So who would have actually seen this advert? No one's going out and about. So it was purely a PR stunt.
So, Jerry, what would have made this better for you?
When you flick through like the Instagram, I think they created a new Instagram account for this, which has about 3,000 followers or something. So, I mean, they probably put a little bit of media behind it to get to that. But most of the videos they've created, you can see the public view count, and it's kind of like a couple of hundred views, or a couple of likes or comments or something. It's a fun, cheeky advert. There's not much visible sign that they put a huge sort of rocket behind it to make more people see it. And by the time they've gone to some of the effort they did, it would have been pretty easy icing on the cake, I think, just to boost it a bit wider. But yeah, make it bigger.
How about you, Mel? If someone had put this idea in front of you and said, right, we're going to send this van around funnily named places in Sydney, what would you push back and said, no, I think this could be better? What would you have added to it?
Yeah, I mean, it depends what they were trying to do. We're assuming it was awareness, and so then everything that Jerry just said about if you haven't got something that's getting traction on its own, and put money behind it to make it bigger. If they were aiming for engagement, then sort of more attention to the user experience of that data capture, and also to just practical things like we all know that money back redemption is less likely to succeed than sampling of some kind. So just all the way through the journey to the little details at the end would have been good. And if you can establish an emotional connection and you can link this to purpose, and Durex, is sort of making some really lovely steps into purpose with things like let's not go back to normal and sort of breaking sex taboos. How are you going to get the traction that Jerry was talking about, if you haven't got that hook in the first place?
They were dabbling with an interesting idea, an interesting purpose. They just didn't quite push it far enough.
Yeah, agree.
Pushing vaccination on people. You look at how activations from like Valentino, for example, have landed trying to push vaccination as an agenda, as a brand. It's not gone down well. And you'd expect it to not particularly go down well in a place like Australia too, where vaccine hesitancy has been a lot higher than a lot of other countries. It wasn't a seamless execution, but I also think that it would have been a lot more effective if people are locked down, they're in their homes, that social media usage at its highest than it's ever been in pretty much every country where lockdown has been present. Why not run it as a social campaign? I really think it would have been a lot more effective and had a lot more talkability if it was. Yeah,
totally. And they didn't need to try and, you're right, they don't have much permission to get into talking about whether people should or shouldn't take vaccines. But, they had loads of other things that they could have talked about and unlocked that would have been far more relevant.
And even like the fact it was a digital board was a bit unnecessary. Like the vaccine rate doesn't change that fast, so it's not going to change from like 60 to 80% during the course of kind of one run around Sydney. It feels like they just could have gone bigger and harder.
I think a bit of storytelling and emotion would have landed a lot better. Like if you look at the NHS ad that was running not too long ago, encouraging young people to get vaccinated, which was basically playing on people's desire to go out clubbing again.
2 shots, yes please. Now chase the heat. Got it booked, got it done. Now I'm out on the run. Here goes, let's go. Get away from the home. Now get closer to those that you love and you've been missed, haven't kissed, haven't hugged. But check this. Daytime, let's meet, or late night rave scene. Let's dance, let's be, let's touch, let's see. Dance floors, new scenes, get yours, then be. On the roads, on the scene, with your squad, with your team. Don't stop, do the lot. Let me see what you got. Let me know when you're free. Then let's go to the streets.
It went down extremely well, had hugely high rates of engagement. And it was because it was actually going, oh, this is the experience that you're missing. This is what you want to get to. Why not get vaccinated? Because then you're going to be able to do that. Maybe it was a small budget and actually it did what it needed to. I think bringing in a bit more of that, a bit more storytelling, a bit more emotion would have really, really taken it a bit further.
Yeah, totally. Because, and even budget wise, when you look at some of the sort of joyous content that's on TikTok, you think about the opportunities to create stuff that was around emotional connection rather than something that was a little bit functional and just sort of went direct to, oh, great, we can all have sex again now. It's like, well, yeah, but sex is actually, sort of like human beings' way of sort of, expressing deep emotional connection. And it seems to a shame to have lost that.
So, unfortunately, we're at the end of the recording now. So what I'm going to get you guys to do is to vote for how good you think this campaign was from a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being rubbish, 5 being great, but using your fingers as an indication. So 1, 2, 3. 1, a 2, and a 2. Right. Guys, that is, thanks for sharing your views. That was, I was surprised by how low that was. I thought it was a lot better than that. Anyway. But it's about you, not me. And thank you so much, Mel, Jerry, Tom. We'll see you all next week.